Hello there, you're watching another edition of Primetime News here on Newsfirst, where the people come first. You're joining me, Naveksha Gunasekara, and here are your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Former Western Province Councillor Salochana Gamage and another suspect remanded for attempting to solicit 9 million rupee bribe. Brother of former Minister Manmohan arrested in connection with foreign employment racket. CID questions former President Mahinda's Chief Security Officer Major Neville on acquisition of illegal assets. Son Yoshitha summoned to CID. President instructs unified monitoring system in Department of Immigration and Emigration, Sri Lanka Customs and the Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Limited. Extraordinary Gazette sets maximum retail prices for canned fish. India holds state funeral for former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Your top story tonight, former Western Provincial Councillor Salochana Gamage and Dushant Dinesh Ratnayaka, who were arrested for bribery-related charges, have been remanded until the 6th of January 2025, following an order given today by Colombo Additional Magistrate Bandara Lanka Singh.
The officers of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, who informed that further investigations are still ongoing regarding the incident, requested that the suspects be remanded and the magistrate issued the order accordingly. The two suspects were arrested while attempting to solicit a bribe of 9 million rupees in exchange for facilitating the payment of compensation for a property located in the Torrington Avenue, Colombo, which had been acquired by the Urban Development Authority. The officers of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption produced the suspects to court and informed court that the suspects were arrested during an operation conducted yesterday based on a complaint made by a businessman named Chaminda Tushara Varnasurya. The suspects were arrested in front of a shop in Pitakotte while accepting the bribe. Additionally, the Siabok officials produced a report on the investigations to court and revealed that the property in question, located in Colombo's Torrington Avenue, had been acquired by the Urban Development Authority. They also confirmed that the suspects had demanded a bribe of 9 million rupees to secure the payment of compensation for the land. The officers informed court that the arrest was made based on a complaint filed at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, and further investigations into the matter had begun. Considering the circumstances, the additional magistrate ordered that the suspects be remanded until the 6th of January 2025. Meanwhile, the brother of former Minister Manmohan was arrested today by the Criminal Investigation Department. The CID officers arrested him in Bibile. It is reported that the suspect was arrested in connection with an alleged job racket that took place during Manmohan's tenure as Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment.
This individual, named Thisara Iroshana Nanayakara, has been arrested for falsely promising people jobs in Finland, requesting 4 million rupees from each and collecting 3 million rupees from that amount. The suspect was arrested in Bibile by officials of the Criminal Investigation Department. While onward action concerning the suspect will be taken, he will be produced before the Ganga Magistrates Court tomorrow.
Chief Security Officer of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Major Neville Vanyarachi, provided a statement to the Criminal Investigation Department yesterday regarding an alleged acquisition of illegal assets. The CID recorded a statement from him which lasted approximately 2.5 hours. Vanyarachi had previously been informed to appear before the CID on 2 occasions but failed to do so. Yoshitha Rajapaksa, the son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, has been notified to appear before the CID on the 3rd of January 2025 to provide statements related to an ongoing investigation.
President Anura Kumara has instructed the Department of Immigration and Emigration, Sri Lanka Customs and the Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Limited to establish an integrated camera system and a unified monitoring centre.
President Dissanayake gave these instructions during a discussion held today with the heads of the Department of Immigration and Emigration, Sri Lanka Customs and the Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Limited. The discussion focused on preventing the entry of illegal substances including drugs into the country, combating corruption, fraud and misconduct at the airport premises and preventing illegal departures of individuals from the country. The President instructed that modern, upgraded scanning machines should be used instead of the current scanners and practical new procedures should be implemented to prevent smuggling activities within these institutions. He also emphasized the need to eliminate the negative perceptions of Sri Lanka Customs among the public and urged for prompt actions to implement strict discipline and legal measures.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya affirmed the government's commitment to creating a suitable environment for all individuals to live a happy and quality life free from discrimination. Prime Minister Dr. Amarasuriya made this statement yesterday during a ceremony held in Batteriwatta, Moratua.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya made this statement on the 27th of December during a ceremony held in Batteriwatta, Moratua to inaugurate the first phase of a housing project funded by China amounting to 22 billion rupees. The project envisions the construction of 1,996 houses under Chinese financial assistance. The phase inaugurated in Batteriwatta, Moratua will provide 575 houses for low-income earners, while the housing project in Kottawa will include 108 houses designated for veteran artists.
We extend our thanks to the Chinese government for supporting this housing project in Sri Lanka. Low-income earners in the suburbs face challenges, often living in unsafe and insecure conditions. The government's vision is to provide an environment where all citizens can lead happy and quality lives without any form of discrimination based on race, religion, gender or other factors. We appreciate the financial assistance and support extended by the Chinese government to Sri Lanka.
Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Sunil Handunnethi says that the government has had to struggle with officials in order to make the people's expectations a reality.
The Shilpa Abhimani 2024 National Handcrafts Presidential Awards ceremony, organised by the National Crafts Council, was held in Colombo today.
Before we came into power, we were in the middle of a fight against waste, corruption, fraud and theft. Do you know against whom our fight now is? It is against the officials who violated the people's rights by making decisions like the previous government. They still stand with the gazettes issued and decisions made by their cabinet and government. They are wondering how they can change the old decisions made by them in a way to align with foreign powers, importers and the people's mandate. And so they are now arguing and fighting with us, all because of the old decisions made by them. We've had to fight with the Ministry of Finance to protect our industries. That's the truth. We've also had to fight against their tax policies and to compete the taxes they imposed on our local products. This applies to medical equipment and manufacturing industries as well, to all local products. That's why we still say that the time has come for the people who are reluctant to change now. If they are not willing to change, then we must change them and move forward.
The Ministry of Digital Economy has announced the introduction of a special program to promote digital payments.
Deputy Minister Ganga stated that using cash for transactions costs approximately 1 to 1.5% of the annual gross domestic product. He also pointed out that cash payments lead to an increase in fraud and corruption, as well as numerous issues regarding payment efficiency. The Deputy Minister added that all payments made to government institutions will be subject to digitalization. Facilities have been provided through the GovPay website, and 16 government institutions are already connected to it. Other government institutions are expected to be linked to the application in January 2025. Accordingly, all payments to the government will be digitalized. In addition to this, it is expected that promoting digital payments will reduce manual labor, eliminate inefficiencies and corrupt practices, and provide more convenient services to the public.
This is a festive season. Christmas is now over, and coming up next is a brand new year. Many are excitedly preparing to welcome 2025.
Clothes have a very high demand during the festive season. Newsfirst went to several locations and looked into the people's preparations to welcome the new year.
Business හොඳයි ගොඩක් කට්ටිය එනවා අවුරුදු සරුයි අවුරුදු ගන්න වෙනදට වැඩි අනිත් පාරවලට මේ පාර සෙනග ඉන්නවා හොඳට ඈතින් තමයි ගොඩක් එන්නේ වෙනදට වැඩි හොඳ බිස්නස් එකක් තියෙනවා අපිත් ඉතින් මේ වෙලඳාම කරනවා ඒගොල්ලොත් ඉතින් අවුරුදු කයි සතුටින් රෙදි මිනිහට ටිකක් අඩු වෙලා තියෙනවා කියන්නේ අප්‍රේල් මාසෙත් මීට වැඩි හොඳ වෙයි කියලා මම හිතනවා මේ පාර හොඳයි නැත්තල සරුයි වෙනදට වැඩි හොඳ ගිය පාරට මිනිස්සුත් එළියට මේ යනවා එවිදිනවා බඩු මිලත් අඩුයි මිනිස්සු සතුටින් කියන්නේ ඒක මිල නෙවෙයිනේ එඳ නත්තල හොඳයි හැමතැනක් වගේ ලස්සන සරසලා තිබ්බ කොළඹ එහෙම ලස්සනයි හැමමත් එක්කම එකට සතුටින් හිටියා නත්තල මේ පාර හොඳයි ඉතින් වරදක් නැහැ මිනිස්සුන්ට මේ සල්ලි තියෙන හොඳට ගිය පාර වගේ මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට බයක් ආර මේ එහෙම ගැටලුවක් නැහැ ඉතින් ගිය පාරට හොඳයි කියලා හිතෙනවා හැම පැත්තෙම අතිවිශිෂ්ටයි නත්තල වෙන අවුරුදු වලට වඩා සියලු බඩු බාහිර ආදී ගන්න තිබ්බා බඩු ලාභයි ඉතාමත්ම හොඳයි සතුටින් සැමරුවා.
This is the situation in the southern province.
නත්තල් හොඳයි නත්තල් හොඳට තියුණා නත්තල් සරුයි බිස්නස් හොඳයි බඩු මිල ඉතින් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ නිකන් ඉන්න මිනිස්සුන්ට තමයි ඔක ගන්න බැරි නිකන් ඉඳන් කන්න බෑනේ අම්බ කරගෙන උන කීයක් හරි කන්න.
What is the situation in the central province?
නත්තල හොඳයි මිනිස්සු සෙනග ටිකක් ආවා බිස්නස් එකක් තිබ්බා අපිට මේ ඇත්තටම සතුටුයි.
ගෙවිච්ච නත්තල නරක නැහැ. නමුත් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වුණ තරමටම නැහැ. හැබැයි නරකත් නැහැ.
ඒ අවුරුද්ද නත්තල ගොඩාක් සෙනග හිටියා හොඳ බිස්නස් එකක් තිබුණා. රට හොඳ තත්ත්වයකට තියෙනවනේ. ඒක නිසා දැන් බිස්නස් උත් හොඳයි. මේ පාර මේ නත්තල අති සාර්ථකයි. මිනිස්සුන්ට කරදරයක් නැතුව මේ වුණා. මේ අපිට මේ වගේම සිංගල අවුරුද්දටත් බිස්නස් කරගන්න කරදරයක් නැතුව මේව කරන්න අපිට සලසලා දෙන්න. ගෙවි ගිය නත්තල නම් මාත්‍ය බොහොම සාර්ථක විදියට නිමා වුණා. අපිත් කීයක් හරි හොයාගත්තා මේ දවස් ටිකේ. නත්තල සාර්ථකයි බඩු ගණන් අඩුයි. අපි සතුටින් කාලා බීලා මේ හිටියා මේ හොඳයි ඉතින් හැම දේම ගණන් අඩුයි 2025 මිනිස්සු හොඳින් ගත කරයි කියලා හිතනවා. බුද්ධාගේ මේ වුණත් නත්තල සැමරුවා. නත්තල ඇත්තටම හොඳයි. මේ අවුරුද්දේ ගොඩක් හොඳයි. සතුටින් හිටියා.
This is what people in the northwestern province had to say.
මේ පාර නත්තල අපි හැමෝටම හොඳයි කිය පාරට වැඩි. දැන් අලුත් ඒවා දැන් මම ගත්තා. ඉතින් හොඳයි අපිට නම් ජයයි.
නත්තල ඉතින් ඇත්තටම හොඳයි ඉතින් සතුටුයි. ඉතින් දැන් නත්තල ඉවරලා ඉතින් තවම ඉතින් ඔය ඔපින් තමයි ඉතින් දැන් අලුත් අවුරුද්ද.
වෙනදට වඩා මිනිස්සු අවුරුදු සරුයි වගේ.
මේ අවුරුද්දේ නත්තල ඇත්තම කියනවා මට නම් උගා කාර්යබහුල නත්තලක් වුණා. හැම තැනම නගරේ විදුලි අලංකාරය කිරීම, ගොඩනැගිලි, ඒතර පල්ලි දේවල් උගා දේවලින් විදුලියෙන් උගා වෙන අවුරුද්දකට වැඩිය විදුලියෙන් උගා විදුලි ආලෝකය කිරීම කෙරුවා.
ගිය අවුරුද්දට මේ අවුරුද්ද හොඳයි. කට්ටිය සනීපෙන් සනසිනීමේ කාලා බීලා එහෙම හිටියා.
News first with the people.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Feel the love. One rhythm at a time. Tune in to Love Rhythms, Wednesdays 7 p.m. onwards.
Legends 966, Colombo's greatest hits.
The Department of Wildlife Conservation says that African swine fever has spread among wild boars in Sri Lanka. Over 100 wild boars in Yala National Park have died due to this viral infection.
The Department of Wildlife Conservation says that the African swine fever has spread to wild boars in Ratnapura, Kalutara, Kandy and Siembalandua. As a result of the outbreak, a temporary ban had been imposed on taking pork into open camping areas at the Yala National Park.
The bodies of the two young men who drowned in the Matale Sudu Ganga have been recovered. The police said that the two individuals who were engaged in purification activities of the Kula water supply scheme went missing this morning.
A 23-year-old resident of Kula and a 24-year-old resident of Kaludavala in Matale had drowned while trying to take a barrel that was among the materials floating in the river. The police as well as local residents launched a search which lasted for many hours, and the bodies of the two young men were later recovered.
Should there be a change in the leadership of the Samadhi Janabalaveke, leader of the Tamil Progressive Alliance, Mano Ganesan, expressed his views on this matter, joining today's Newsline program.
கூட நேற்றும் கூட முன்னாள் ஒரு பார்லிமெண்ட் உறுப்பினர் அரசியலிருந்து ஓய்வு பெறுவதாக ஊடக சந்திப்பு ஒன்றை ஏற்பாடு செய்து குறிப்பிட்டிருந்த விடயம் ஐக்கிய மக்கள் சக்திக்கு உள்ளே ஜனநாயகம் இல்லை, தலைமைத்துவ பண்புகள் மிகவும் குறைவாக இருக்கின்றது. ஆகவே ஹர்ஷடி சில்வா போன்றவர்களை தலைவராக மாற்றி தலைமைத்துவத்தை வழங்கி இந்த கட்சியை முன்னோக்கி கொண்டு செல்லாவிட்டால் இந்த கட்சிக்கு ஒரு எதிர்காலம் இல்லை என்று அவர் குறிப்பிடுகின்றார். நீங்கள் ஒரு கூட்டணி உறுப்பினராக, ஒரு சிரேஷ்ட உறுப்பினராக இருக்கின்றீர்கள், இதனை நீங்கள் இவ்வாறு பார்க்க
அவர் கட்சியிலே அவர் கருத்திலே அவர் கட்சியிலே
What Lalit Elavala, who has retired from politics, said is true. I can't deny that. I agree there is a question about Sajid Premadasa's leadership. I can't say there isn't. I don't know whether it's Harshadi Silva or Sajid Premadasa or someone completely new. We have to wait and see. But I think the time has come for this. Either Sajid should improve his leadership qualities and his ability to work cooperatively. I think there's a lack of cooperation within the Samadhi Janabalaveke. Some decisions are made unilaterally.
கட்சிக்குள்ளே ஐக்கிய மக்கள் சக்திக்குள்ளே கூட்டு செயல்பாடு என்பது இல்லை என்றுதான் நினைக்கிறேன். தனித்துவமான முடிவுகள் எடுக்கப்படுகின்றன. உண்மைதான் அது சொல்வது உண்மை.
ஐக்கிய மக்கள் சக்திக்கு உள்ளே ஒரு மறுசீரமைப்பு அவசியம்.
நிச்சயமாக மறுசீரமைப்பு அவசியம்.
Yes, it must definitely be reformed. I don't think that Sajid has to leave for that to happen. He must change himself. Everyone must be included. Harsha and senior members like Kabir Hashim are there. I would have competed for it if I was a member of the party, but I am not one, as I am a member of an allied party. The Samadhi Janabalaveke is our main party. Therefore, I pay more attention to who the leader of that party is. We cannot blindly accept whoever they choose. We will inquire about it.
கண்ணை மூடிக்கொண்டு அவர் யாரை தெரிவு செய்தாலும் நாங்கள் எடுத்துக்கொள்ள முடியாது. அப்படி அல்ல. அங்கே பார்ப்போம். அவ்வளவுதான்.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Companies play better politics than the politicians of today.
We are not supposed to play with the people's expectation. Then it will be a huge disaster.
When you're bankrupt and when you're going to bankruptcy, two different.
The grandfather is saying it is going to take this long. What does he know?
It's about lack of sense of humor in Sri Lankans.
Issues that matter the most. Unfiltered discussions. Real answers. Face to face. Monday to Thursday at 8 p.m. on TV1.
Welcome back to the news. Representatives of farmers' organizations say that the compensation provided for farming lands destroyed by the cyclone Fengal is insufficient.
The Agricultural and Agrarian Insurance Board announced recently that they had identified a total of 80,000 acres of farmlands that were damaged by Cyclone Fengal. The surveying of damaged farmlands is still ongoing in several areas and is expected to be completed the day after tomorrow. According to the circular issued, a maximum of 40,000 rupees is to be paid as compensation for land on which paddy, corn, potato, soybeans, big onions and chili were cultivated. What is the procedure in place to provide compensation to farmers? Compensation for farmlands is to be provided based on how long the crop had been cultivated at the time it was destroyed. For crops that were cultivated for a period of 75 to 105 days and destroyed by Cyclone Fengal, a sum of 36,000 rupees per acre is to be paid as compensation for the complete loss of the crop. 18,000 is to be provided as compensation for crops that have been partially damaged, and 9,000 rupees per acre is to be provided as compensation for crops that have suffered minor damage. For crops that have suffered complete complete damage after being cultivated for a period between 31 to 75 days, a sum of 21,600 rupees is to be paid as compensation. Compensation of 10,800 rupees is set for crops that have suffered partial damage and 5,400 rupees for crops that have suffered minor damage during this time period. What is the issue that has arisen? The provision of compensation for crop damage was discussed at the meeting of the Ampara Agrarian Committee, chaired by the District Secretary. Many of the crops that were damaged by Cyclone Fenjal had been cultivated for a period between 7 to 30 days. This is how compensation is to be paid for such crops.
In news overseas, White House spokesman John Kirby said that the US has seen early indications that Russia may have been responsible for the downing of the Azerbaijan Airlines plane that crashed on the 25th of December, killing 38 people.
What happened on the 25th of December?
On the 25th of December 2024, it was reported that a passenger plane operated by Azerbaijan Airlines carrying 67 passengers crashed near the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. The plane was flying from Baku to Grozny in Russia's Chechnya, which was rerouted due to a fog in Grozny. According to reports, 38 people were killed and 29 survived, some with serious injuries. Surviving passengers say that as the flight approached Grozny, it entered a thick fog. They described the pilot attempting to land the plane twice during these conditions. Survivors say that it was on the third attempt that they felt a series of explosions hit the plane. After the incident over Grozny, the plane diverted 450 kilometers east to Aktau Airport in Kazakhstan.
Why did the plane not attempt to divert there instead of landing in another close-by airport? Were factors such as the ongoing conflict in Ukraine or adverse weather conditions influential in this decision?
According to foreign media reports, it remains unclear why it was diverted over the Caspian Sea, a far longer journey than several other options. Russian aviation authorities have claimed the pilots of the plane were offered other airports but chose Aktau. Video from near the scene shows the plane descending rapidly through the air before crashing into the ground and skidding for several hundred meters in a ball of flame.
What is the United States of America saying about the incident?
White House spokesman John Kirby has said the US has seen early indications that Russia may have been responsible for the downing of the Azerbaijan Airlines plane that crashed on the 25th of December, killing 38 people. Kirby did not elaborate further, but told reporters the US had offered assistance to the investigation into the crash.
Is Russia responsible for the plane crash?
In recent weeks, Ukraine has been targeting Chechnya and other parts of the Russian Caucasus with drone strikes. After the crash, authorities in Moscow said such attacks had triggered a protocol close to the airspace over Grozny. According to local officials, a drone was shot down by air defense above a shopping mall in Vladikavkaz that morning. It is unclear whether the closed airspace protocol, known as a carpet plan, was enacted before or while flight J28243 was in Russian airspace. The Kremlin has refused to comment, but the head of Russia's civil aviation agency said the situation in Chechnya was very complicated due to Ukrainian drone strikes on the region. Initial reports from Russian media suggested the aircraft collided with a flock of birds.
Do you remember?
298 people died on the 17th of July 2014 when the Malaysia Airlines passenger jet en route from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur was hit by a Russian surface-to-air Buk missile fired from an area of eastern Ukraine seized by Russian proxy forces.
The last rites of former Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh were held at Nigambodh Ghat in Delhi. Dr. Singh's final journey began at 9:30 a.m. from the All India Congress Committee headquarters after party leaders and workers paid their final respects. Former Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was 92 years old when he passed away.
India has mourned one of its longest-serving prime ministers, Manmohan Singh, with a state funeral in Delhi. Singh led the country from 2004 to 2014 and was considered the architect of India's economic liberalization. He died on Thursday, aged 92. The former Prime Minister's final journey began from the Congress headquarters, where party leaders and workers paid their last respects. The last rites were performed in the presence of President Draupadi Murmu, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as also top leaders of the Congress party including Mallikarjun Kharge, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. The final religious rites were conducted in the presence of his family members. The central government has announced a week-long state mourning from the 26th of December to the 1st of January 2025. Dr. Manmohan Singh will always be remembered as a visionary leader whose visions were not just limited to India.
A NASA space aircraft has achieved a historic milestone by successfully navigating the closest ever solar encounter.
3, 2, 1, 0.
A NASA spacecraft has made history by surviving the closest ever approach to the Sun. Scientists received a signal from the Parker Solar Probe just before midnight on Thursday after it had been out of communication for several days during its burning hot flyby. NASA said the probe was safe and operating normally after it passed just 3.8 million miles from the solar surface. The probe plunged into our star's outer atmosphere on Christmas Eve, enduring brutal temperatures and extreme radiation in a quest to better our understanding of how the Sun works. Parker Solar Probe launched in 2018, heading to the center of our solar system. It had already swept past the Sun 21 times, getting ever nearer, but the Christmas Eve visit was record-breaking. The probe was 3.8 million miles from our star's surface.
In sports news, we have cricket. New Zealand beat Sri Lanka by 8 runs in the first T20 international today.
Let's have a look at the use of the feet in the air and caught. No.
Sri Lanka, winning the toss, decided to bowl first. Sri Lankan bowlers successfully dismissed New Zealand's first 5 wickets for 65 runs. The collapse of New Zealand's innings was strengthened by Michael Bracewell and Daryl Mitchell, who formed a partnership worth 105 runs. Both of them scored half-centuries. New Zealand, after losing 8 wickets in the allotted 20 overs, scored 172 runs. The opening pair of Sri Lanka, Pathum Nissanka and Kusal Mendes, built a partnership of 121 runs. This partnership became the second best opening partnership in Sri Lanka's history of T20 matches. Kusal Mendes scored 46 runs. Pathum Nissanka, playing a valuable innings, scored 90 runs, including 3 sixes and 7 fours. Apart from them, no other Sri Lankan batsman managed to surpass 10 runs. Sri Lanka's score at the end of the 20 overs was 164 runs with 8 wickets down, falling short in the chase.
That'll do it for New Zealand. That is a remarkable comeback.
And that's a wrap of primetime news for tonight. For all these stories and much more, you can visit our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you for watching. Good night.